Do you think this is a snowflake or a Christmas star? Well, whatever it is, this is my first real LED pixel project I've ever done, and let's look at how these things are built and find out what we can learn from this project. The hours that my brother Eric and I put into these a few years ago was insane. Looking back, we knew nothing about LEDs, how to control them, all that is involved to make them do stuff. He and I should really do a podcast episode sometime. In the end, all the late nights, however, were worth it because of how much we learned as a result of these snowflakes. If you ever want to learn something, I recommend diving in deep, figuring it out, learning so much. Each of these snowflakes are made out of 12 3D printed triangles. 2 parts, one for the base and one for the lid. The original idea was to make them magnet together like those videos we see online, but we ended up bolting them together instead. Each one has 2 screw holes and 1 slot intended to run wires through. We added 2 WS2812B LEDs to each of the 3 corners of the triangle. This provides an okay amount of coverage. If I were to seriously redo this project, I would probably use this different strip. It's a WS2811 LED strip that we've been using for our LED sticks, and the LEDs are a lot smaller and a lot more consistent across the coverage. However, that would require hours of soldering. I believe that I just mentioned the week we put 100 hours into these things, and we actually only got 3 of the 4 working. It was last year that I finished the 4th one. Each WS2812B LED requires voltage, which is 5 volts in this case, ground, and signal from a controller to control the LED. Each LED needs this, and the signal wire determines the order of control. Looking back, it's so simple, but at the time, we knew almost zero about LED strips. I think this was the first time we ever used addressable LEDs. One thing we did not know about were the realities of voltage loss. The 5-volt ground and signal wires start with the first LED and run between the LED pixels until it reaches the last pixel. We originally tried to also run the 5 volts and ground wires through each LED from the beginning to the last LED. Due to what we now know as voltage loss, we learned that constant 5 volt cannot be maintained through this many LEDs. We've begun using the rule that after 100 LED pixels, you should reintroduce voltage. I know what you're thinking, there's not 100 LEDs in this project, but because of all the solder connections and the many inches of wiring connecting each pixel, we did not get the reliability of the 100 LEDs before needing to reintroduce the voltage. It's easy to observe this even without a voltmeter because when we set all LEDs to 100% white intensity, we can see voltage loss in the LEDs. That led us to introduce the power bus. This 5 volt and ground bus runs from the power supply into the snowflake, then between the 6 sets of LEDs around the center ring. Then we tapped off the 5 volt and ground to daisy chain each LED in that section. The 6 sets of LEDs in that section now pull 5 volt and ground from that central power bus. We stripped and used Ethernet wire for much of this project, which is roughly 24 or 26 gauge. The power bus is heavier 20 gauge silicone wire. This completely solved our problem, and now everything gets constant power. In future projects, we would go on to add this power bus technique to the LED panels that we built. That way, each strip of LEDs receives its power from the one bus going across and up the side from the power supply on each panel. How these LEDs work is the signal wire runs from the first LED to the next and the next and the next before it hits the last LED in the set. We will arrange them in software, but it's super important to pick a pattern and wire them in that sequence. Signal-wise, sometimes it makes the most sense to wire signal one way, but that might cause more issues when we go to program. We're going to talk all about this later when we lay out the location of the LEDs. I'll be using the Enttec ELM software in this video. Click the card to see the video of me using Resolume Arena in the exact same way. For the LED controller, I'm going to use the Enttec OCTO MKii controller. This is a great LED pixel controller, and it has an Ethernet port to connect to our network. So the data is going to be super quick. To connect the output of this controller to the first LED on this snowflake, I want to install a quick disconnect cable to both devices. This female connector will go on the snowflake. We're going to connect the center wire to signal, then 5 volt and ground to the red and black wires. These are connected straight to the power bus. We're doing this so that the controller will also get 5 volts to power itself on. and ground because it's important to give all devices connected to the system common ground, even if we had external power plans for this controller. With the quick disconnect connected to the Snowflake, the other male side needs connected to the OCTO Mark II controller. And that's also super easy. When installing a new quick disconnect cable, you're gonna see that the ends of the cables are stripped and tinned from the manufacturer. I like to cut those off, retwist them, and add solder to the end to make my own larger tinned section, especially when putting the end into a screw down connection like on this controller. I want to make sure that there's enough wire going into the connector so that it's going to stay when I screw it down. The power supply I'll be using today is a 70 amp 350 watt power supply. I've purchased a 3-wire appliance and power tool cord and connected it to the power supply. I've also connected a barrel connector on both the Snowflake and power supply for a quick disconnect. We have incorporated all of this into a nice 3D printed cap with an IEC quick disconnect and installed dual barrel connectors for the power supply units that we're building for our LED sticks. That way we can easily set up the units for an event. We've seen this before, the pixel strip. Very cool. Wait, what is this connector? Wait, what is this in my hand? Oh, that's cool. Welcome to version 2.0. We have new feet, and it kind of falls over if I tilt it over, of course, but new feet with magnets in it. They're quick disconnectable. We've got power in and power out on the back. This is our LED stick, so the 1.5 stick here just pops right off. The 3-foot stick here just pops right off the base. And I'm gonna go ahead and collect all of the sticks, and then I'll go back through and collect all the bases and the power cables. If these Wi-Fi controlled quick disconnect sticks are a product you'd like to see come to market, then shoot me an email and leave a comment on this video. Now that all the hardware is all in place, let's go ahead and connect our Enttec ELM software to the OCTO controller. First, we need to connect the OCTO to the wired network and use the EMU software from Enttec to find the IP address of the OCTO controller. Using the IP address and the web browser, we can connect to the OCTO. From here, we can click identify in the web page, or there's a button on the side of the controller that you can click to identify. This will light up all the pixels connected solid white. To reset an Enttec OCTO, all we have to do is very simple. I need to shut power off here first. So shut power off to the device. Do that by doing this. Now grab the device and there's a button on it, reset/identify. Click and hold that button. Power it back on. There we go, it's red. And now it's blinking, I'll let go of it. Okay, give it a few seconds. Now I'm gonna power it back off. And now I'm going to power it on. And we should be good to go. I should be able to go ahead and connect to that controller. To use this controller, you need to set the pixel type on output 1, as well as set the controller to receive ArtNet. At this point, you can also play around with the colors and effects that are built into the controller using standalone mode. Now in the ELM software, go ahead and activate the license that's free that comes with the OCTO Mark II unit. Connect to the OCTO via the IP address and start programming the LEDs. Then send content to these pixels. It's easy to set up a template to change the RGB value of these pixels or play video content across the LEDs for cool effects. Separating each pixel from a huge patch of pixels into 2 pixels so that you can lay them out in a pattern of the snowflake. This is going to make content look more detailed. There, now we've got even more resolution. See how these pixels turn on all or nothing? But this one, all 6 LEDs turn on independently of what the rest of them are doing. Hey, thanks so much for checking out this Snowflake Christmas star project. This was so much fun when we built this, and I'm glad I get to continue talking about this kind of stuff. I have some other videos on my channel here where I build stuff with LEDs, and you can learn so much. So I'm Nathan from Crazy Amazing Design. My goal here is to train and educate leaders to do church and event production with excellence. So if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, follow along. See you next time. Bye.